Alright, so hello everyone. So in celebration of the 150th anniversary of the East Bridge, we are proud to present our solution to bridge the gap between the North Overlook and the East Bridge. And so I want to introduce ourselves. We are from St. Louis University High School, and this is Kobe Kodat, Lucas Penguin, myself, Paul Palm, Luca Rogan, Derek Nestor, and Justin.
So first, we'll start on the overview of the project itself. The core concern of this project is that there is no direct connection from the North Overlook to the East Bridge itself. And despite only 54 feet of horizontal separation and 16 feet of vertical separation, the walking distance between the two is a strenuous journey of nearly half a mile. So our goal is to construct an ADA-approved bridge that not only has an aesthetic in the light of the East Bridge itself, but it also provides convenient pedestrian access.
When we were developing our design, we were faced with three main constraints. First came from the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, and they stated that we needed to have 1 inch of height for every 12 inches of length. They also stated that we would need a rest stop for every 30 inches of height. These posed a challenge to us because they had a lot of complexity to design, and they also kind of strained the space requirements, because the overlook is not too big of a building space. The next one was the preservation of the Eads Bridge. When we were trying to anchor, the Eads Bridge is 150 years old, and it's made mostly limestone where we were trying to anchor, which makes it a really difficult object to anchor to due to limestone being relatively weak after limestone. We also had to balance the structural integrity of our bridge, while also making it aesthetically pleasing and match or complement the aesthetic of the Eads Bridge. The final one was anti-terrorism measures. As you know, the arch grounds are federal property, and they really like to regulate what goes in and what goes out.
And so for our design, so considering these constraints, we devised what we believe to be the best possible solution to bridging the gap between the North Overlook and the East Bridge. So our design consists of a raised concrete platform that will align with the East Bridge, allowing us to create a flat bridge rather than a slope one. And so this raised platform will be supported by steel beams, and there will be 2 ways to access this raised platform. So the first will be via a new concrete staircase that we will be implementing, and also a steel ramp system that is similar to the ones found on the arch grounds. And going back to the ADA requirements, we will make sure that this ramp system will take into account of all the ADA requirements, including rest stops, railways, and also a slope that is small enough for accessibility for everybody.
Yeah, so from this platform, we're going to have a pedestrian bridge that spans the gap between the East Bridge and the North Overlook. And this concrete base will be supported by grade 50 steel beams that will be anchored into the East Bridge and the Overlook. On the East Bridge side, it will be anchored into the limestone, and on the Overlook side, we will construct a concrete retaining wall that we will anchor the steel beams into. In addition to the load-bearing steel beams, we will also add in a aluminum facade that will mirror the design of the Eads Bridge. This design will not only pay tribute to the Eads Bridge, but it will also create for a smoother transition between the Eads Bridge and North Overlook. In addition to the facade, we will also have anti-terrorism bollards on the bridge that will prevent any unauthorized access to the arch grounds.
All right, now my favorite part, the cost sheet. We're going to dive deeper into each part. First, we have the platforming we're going to look at. We broke this down into 4 different parts right here. Just the gray ramp, the new staircase, the blue ramp, and then the overlook itself, or the raised platform itself. Each of these costs about 10% of the job, that cumulatively costs about like 40% of the entire sum. Now we're onto the bridge. The bridge, this is about 50,000 in just the materials itself, and labor in addition would be about 43,000. This is a good amount of the cost, not too much though, it's 15%. This includes the facade that Luca was talking about, the supports and the railing and the bridge itself, yeah. Moving on to the equipment that will be necessary, we have like a variety of equipment. The crane itself, we have the man lift, concrete pump, and like the telescoping forklift. To focus on the concrete pump here, we have for the timeline wise, we have to get all the concrete out at one time to minimize cost, because the concrete pump's really pretty expensive, like 120 hours, something like that. Yeah, so we want to install the overlook and then for the raised platform, and then also the staircase at the same time. And these will also be needed to build the bridge. The miscellaneous stuff, for example, area lighting, which we have to factor in, of course, because we want to be able to access it at night. We can perhaps use the wiring, we can wire the bridge, wire the lighting underneath the bridge, being more or less hidden through the usage of the aluminum facade. Painting steel structures, that's obviously going to be necessary, like match the aesthetic. Permits, necessary. Railroads are a little bit tricky to work with. That's going to be a little money, and then also there are various permits, along with pedestrian vehicle traffic control. We might have to close off a lane or two to perhaps put the crane on top of the bridge. In total, the materials cost about $400,000, and then labor, $560,000. However, the labor does include design costs, which is about 10% of the construction for like the whole cost. The superintendent, like managing all the workers and everything, and like yeah. And then in total, we're just shy of $1 million for our budget, $977,604. And this will take, we estimate, about 6 months to complete in total, which is what we use the labor cost for.
And so our team believes that our design is the best design because it follows all of the restraints, the ADA restraints, preservation of the Eads Bridge restraints. It is also a functional design. It will be easy to use and easy for everyone to access. Our bridge will be stable because it will be flat. It will have a higher load-bearing capacity. And our ramp system will provide easier access for the disabled. And before we finish, there are multiple people we would like to thank. Throughout this process, our team was assisted by 2 engineers, Richard Rounds from KCI Construction and Jeffrey Nestor from Wisserton Electrical Contractors. We also had other team members who unfortunately couldn't make it to the presentation today. Those are Aaron Becker, Will Hamlin, Jonah Ebino, James Mullins, and Ed Shear. Ed Shear is the person who made this design of the CAD, which I will give to you guys now, just to give you one last better look at our design. And of course, we thank our team moderators, Mr. Hinders, who is here right now, and Ms. Wellen. And we would like to thank the audience for being here today, and of course you, the judges, for listening to us. And are there any questions?
Can you explain a little bit more about, you mentioned there's an aluminum, I believe, piece that, if I understood correctly, is at this end where the bridge connects before it goes across, is that right?
So the aluminum facade,
Yeah, can you explain about that a little bit
it
more?
will be covering this full bridge to give
Okay.
it an aesthetic design similar to that of the Eads Bridge.
Okay.
While minimizing costs, because that Eads Bridge is very expensive.
So you're planning like aluminum sheathing to hide the steel members and make it look closer to what the eave bed bridge looks like?
Yes.
And you're also gonna hide your electric cable behind that facade, your lights.
So the railings, I assume there'll be railings.
Yes.
Okay.
Throughout that whole design, there will be railings. Those could not be printed, and in other images of the design, railings shown would be hiding the rest of the design too much. But there will be railings, and those are accounted for in the cost.
Okay. It does affect the aesthetics a bit. Like the specific choice of railing to me, if we're thinking carefully about aesthetics, would affect not affect. It will influence how the whole thing looks. And so like, I feel like that's.
If we go to the bridge on this version of the CAD, you can see we do have a railing design made. That's just tertiary design that like could be there.
Was your intent for that to be the same for the
Like,
rest of the structure as well? Or is
Our
there
intent
gonna be a
was
different type on ramp?
Our intent for the other side to be something a bit more modern, more minimalist,
Mhm.
to fit in more with the arch grounds aesthetic. With this trying to fit more of the Eads Bridge aesthetic.
As far as the presentation, I think it would have been helpful even if you didn't have it in, your CAD drawings or able to do it on the model, if you had chosen something and just at least had, a photo or representation of what you had planned on using, just so that we can have it in our minds what that might look like. That's definitely one of those sticking points with SHPO when you go through review with State Historic Preservation Office, that they'll, having the understanding what the visual is going to be for the whole project is really important. You get your approvals from those offices.
And this is maybe I have a misconception in my brain here, but can you go to the overview of this whole structure? Like this yeah, actually no, where it crosses the bridge, between that and the,
This?
yeah. Is it true that this is the current overlook, sort of the upper level of the current overlook?
So the light blue, this light blue square right here is the current
Yeah.
overlook.
Is that actually, like, when I look at photographs of this, maybe it's just wrong up here, it seems like there's also like a jog over, like where the landing is on the bridge. To me, it looked like it was like farther this way, and so that you couldn't necessarily go straight across. I'm trying to think of what photograph made me think that. But you know what I mean? Like to me it seemed like there wasn't a possibility to go like straight across. But maybe there is. Maybe I'm just
There's a
misvisualizing
like
this.
16-foot overlapping area.
Okay. I think I just made a faulty mental model of this space. So okay. Fine. And so then you're using the current overlook structure. Do we know that's strong enough to support like the bridge if there's a bunch of weight on it? Like I wish I knew more about the structure of the overlook itself, and that it's not just like a cinder block wall and that's it, and you're going to try to put a bunch of like force on that on that upper corner of the building. And that's probably not something you can necessarily answer in just wondering. Like it's strong enough. Oh yeah, the limestone side. You mentioned this, that the limestone side of that on the bridge part is maybe not the strongest material. What was the solution there again?
We can use I think they're called like through anchors or something that would like perhaps like despite it might like damage the Eads Bridge itself a little bit, but it'll like actually like offer like a lot of support, like surface area, but friction and stuff like that.
We also mentioned a retaining wall on the inside of that structure that would be stronger to anchor to. Which once again is included in cost.
All right.
Thank you.